Welcome to the Deep Dive, your express route to becoming truly well-informed. Today, we're jumping right into a story that's really making waves. We're seeing ripples not just in the headlines, but, well, tremors in global financial markets, and it's challenging some fundamental ideas about government independence. This feels like more than just news, honestly. It could be one of those moments that reshapes things. We're talking about President Trump's very recent and, let's say, very contentious announcement, his move to remove Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook. And this isn't just some political back and forth. This is a really deep dive into complex legal stuff, economic stability, and, the whole concept of an independent central bank. So for you, our listener, we've pulled together a whole stack of sources. We've got Reuters, AP News, The Times, plus legal analysis, historical context. Our mission here is pretty straightforward. Cut through the noise, give you the crucial bits, and make sure you walk away really understanding what's at stake. Think of it as your shortcut through a pretty complex situation.
And it really is complex. What strikes me is just how unprecedented this is. I mean, trying to remove a governor from an independent agency like the Fed, especially one so vital for the economy, it's uncharted territory, really. It makes you ask some big questions about, well, how insulated these institutions really are, or should be.
Okay, let's unpack the sequence of events. Where does this start? The timeline kicks off just yesterday, August 25th, 2025. President Trump posts on Truth Social. Pretty standard communication channel for him. And the message itself, unequivocal. He stated he was removing Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook, quote, for cause. Just like that. A very direct, forceful statement, which of course immediately set off alarm bells everywhere, the big question being, what exactly is this cause?
Right, the cause. So according to the president's post, and our sources detail this, it revolves around allegations of mortgage fraud. Pretty serious stuff. The claim is that Governor Cook allegedly declared two different homes in two different states as her primary residence at the same time. The argument presented was that this was done to get, better mortgage rates or maybe tax benefits you wouldn't normally get for a second home. So yeah, it's not a minor detail. It's a significant accusation about financial honesty, which naturally casts a shadow, if true.
Wow. Okay, so a very strong claim from the president. But this wasn't just announced into a vacuum, right? There was pushback, and it was fast.
Oh, immediate. Governor Cook, who, it's worth remembering, is the first black woman to serve as a Fed governor, a historic appointment, she didn't hesitate. Her response was firm. Flat-out refusal to step down, strong denial of any wrongdoing. She put out a statement, very clear, saying he has no authority to do so, a direct challenge to the legality of the whole thing. And she's not just talking, she's vowed to stay in office, and her legal team is already gearing up for a full legal battle. So this is far from over.
Right, which brings us squarely to the legal heart of it. What does for cause actually mean when you're talking about a Federal Reserve governor? And maybe more importantly, do these specific allegations, even if they were proven, meet that standard? It feels like a legal minefield.
It really is. A legal tightrope, as you said earlier. The Federal Reserve Act does say governors can be removed for cause. That part's clear. But here's the kicker. The act doesn't define it. It doesn't list the reasons. Historically, people usually interpret for cause in government roles as, serious misconduct while in office, neglecting your duties, or being unable to do the job. Because there's no specific definition here, it leaves a lot of room for argument and, conflict.
And the legal experts we're seeing cited in our sources, they seem pretty skeptical about this specific claim, don't they? Especially the timing element.
They do. There's significant skepticism. A major point being raised is that these alleged actions, the mortgage document stuff, apparently happened before she was even appointed, before her Senate confirmation. Many legal scholars argue that actions taken before someone takes office usually don't count as grounds for removal for cause during their term. We saw Catherine Judge from Columbia Law quoted saying there's a scant precedent for this at the Fed specifically. It really highlights how new this situation is. And Peter Conti Brown, a historian who studies the Fed, adds another layer. He argues this kind of thing should have been looked at during her Senate confirmation hearings. Raising it now after she's been confirmed and is serving, it makes the legal justification look, a bit weaker.
So this isn't just staying between the White House and the Fed governor. This could go higher, potentially much higher. It really makes you think about those unwritten rules, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It tests those norms. And if Governor Cook's legal team follows through, and all signs point to, yes, this could easily end up before the Supreme Court. And what's really interesting there, potentially crucial, is that the court has actually hinted before that the Fed has unique legal protections. They've called it a quasi-private entity. It's different from a lot of other independent agencies. So if the Supreme Court takes this up, That special status could really influence how they rule on the president's power in this specific case. It could set a huge precedent.
Okay, stepping back from the legal weeds for a second, what about the immediate impact? What does this kind of thing, this perceived political pressure mean for the economy, for, everyday people? Markets height uncertainty.
And they reacted instantly. It was quite a chilling effect, as some described it. We saw the U.S. dollar weaken noticeably. Treasury yields went down. Why does that matter to you? Well, a weaker dollar can make imported goods more expensive. Think gas, electronics, even some groceries, and falling Treasury yields. That's often a sign investors are nervous, looking for safer places to put their money. Long term, this kind of uncertainty can make borrowing more expensive for businesses, which might slow down hiring or investment. It could even affect things like mortgage rates down the line. Markets need predictability, especially from the Fed. Any hint that decisions might become political instead of purely economic, that creates real unease.
And it wasn't just contained within the U.S., was it? I heard reports of global reactions, too.
No, not at all. The ripples went global almost immediately. European markets reacted sharply, Asian markets too. It makes sense because the Fed's decisions on interest rates and policy, they have massive global consequences. Everyone watches the Fed. So when international investors see a potential threat to the Fed's independence, they worry. They worry decisions might be driven by politics, not sound economics. That erodes confidence, not just in the U.S. system, but it raises broader concerns about institutional stability worldwide. It shows how interconnected everything is.
So connecting the dots here, this deep dive really shows it's not just about one person, Governor Cook, or these specific allegations. It strikes at the foundation of the Fed as an independent body.
That's exactly it. This is a significant escalation of executive pressure on the Federal Reserve. The Fed was designed intentionally to be shielded from day-to-day politics. That insulation is meant to ensure its decisions, critical decisions about interest rates, money supply, crisis response, are based on economic data, period. Not on who's in power or what election's coming up. Trying to breach that wall, well, it risks destabilizing the whole system in the long run. It could turn this vital economic institution into just another political football.
And that has potential real-world consequences for monetary policy itself, doesn't it? A change in who's sitting on that board could change the direction on interest rates, for example.
Oh, definitely. The implications for actual policy could be huge. Governor Cook was appointed under the Biden administration, generally seen as part of the current policy consensus. Removing her could shift the ideological balance on the Board of Governors, potentially towards people more aligned with the incoming Trump administration's views on the economy. That composition matters enormously. It could directly influence debates on, say, how quickly or slowly to cut interest rates. If a new majority favors more aggressive rate cuts, for example, that could happen sooner, impacting borrowing costs, inflation, economic growth. It connects directly to your wallet.
So looking ahead, this isn't something that's going to be resolved quickly or quietly. We're looking at a major legal fight brewing.
It seems almost certain. Governor Cook's Eagle team, with Abby Lowell leading, they've signaled they're ready for a full-fledged challenge. They're calling the removal attempt illegal action. This case won't just be about Governor Cook keeping her job. It's going to be a major test of presidential power over these independent agencies. The outcome could redraw those lines, clarifying, or maybe even changing, the balance between the executive branch and institutions designed for independence. It's shaping up to be quite the constitutional showdown.
So wrapping this up, what's the bottom line for you, the listener? Our deep dives makes it pretty clear this isn't just a personnel issue. It's not just politics as usual. It's a direct challenge to a really important, long-standing norm. That the Federal Reserve stays out of politics, stays independent. You've got the legal uncertainty, the immediate jitters in the market that affect real things like the dollar and interest rates, plus the potential to shift actual monetary policy. The stakes here are incredibly high. It's disruptive, no question.
And it leaves us with a pretty big question to think about, doesn't it? In today's world, with everything so polarized, what actually defines independence for these critical institutions? What protects it? And maybe more importantly, what happens down the road to our economy, to our system of government, if that independence keeps getting chipped away? It's something worth considering long after this specific story develops.
Indeed it is. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. Keep thinking about these important issues, and we'll be back soon to unpack the next essential story for you.